Hello and welcome to Bible Bites Daily. Today we have reached Numbers chapter 19. This chapter unveils profound lessons about purity, sacrifice, and the redemptive power of God's provision. As we explore these verses, may our hearts be open to the transformative message woven into these rituals described in this chapter. In the opening verses, God instructs Moses and Aaron regarding the red heifer. This is like a goat or a lamb that we offer as a sacrifice, a unique sacrifice that would become the key to cleansing those who were ceremonially unclean. The red heifer was to be without blemish and never have borne a yoke, a symbol of purity and innocence. Now picture this. The ritual involves sacrificing the red heifer outside the camp, symbolizing Christ's sacrifice outside the city walls centuries later. The blood of the red heifer mixed with water becomes a purifying agent. It's sprinkled on those who have come into contact with the dead, cleansing them from their impurity. A simple act yet laden with profound symbolism. The lesson here is twofold. First, the red heifer foreshadows Jesus Christ, the sinless and sacrificial lamb whose blood cleanses us from sin. Second, the sprinkling of the water and blood underscores God's grace, cleansing even in the face of death, the ultimate symbol of impurity. As we move to verses 7 to 10, we encounter another aspect of the ritual involving a clean person gathering the ashes of the red heifer and mixing them with water. This mixture becomes a cleansing solution, again highlighting God's provision for purification. Imagine a situation. A once defiled person, now cleansed, gathers the ashes and water mixture. This process serves as a tangible reminder that God's cleansing power is not a distant concept but a present reality. The ashes, though from a sacrificed life, become the source of life and purity for others. The lesson is very clear. God's provision for our purification comes from sacrificial work of Christ. The ashes, representing the completion of a sacrifice, echo the redemptive power of Jesus about his death and resurrection. It's a beautiful paradox. Life emerging from death, purity from sacrifice. Now let's explore verses 11 to 13. The one who performs the cleansing is considered unclean until the evening, illustrating that the act of purification involves a personal cost. This takes on the impurity of another, emphasizing the selflessness required in the process. This means that whoever agrees to do this act knows that they will be impure until the evening. So they are again sacrificing themselves until the evening. Consider the symbolism. The cleanser willingly bears the impurity of another. He is taking on someone else's impurity to redeem this person, just as Christ willingly took us on our sins on the cross. The temporary uncleanness of the cleanser reflects the temporary nature of sin's impact when covered by the sacrifice. The lesson is important. Redemption involves personal cost. The one who cleanses pays a price. Foreshadowing the sacrificial love of Christ, it invites us to reflect on the selflessness required in extending God's grace to others. As we conclude our reflections on this chapter, let's meditate the important lessons. First one is the red heifer points to Christ. The red heifer symbolizes Christ, the sinless sacrifice whose blood cleanses us from impurity. Second one is the cleansing through sacrifice. The ritual emphasizes that cleansing comes through sacrifice, illustrating the redemptive power of Christ's death and resurrection. Third one is personal cost of redemption. The temporary uncleanness of the cleansers highlights the personal cost of redemption, mirroring Christ's selfless sacrifice on the cross. We have to be aware and we have to understand that God requires us to be cleansed with His blood, and During the process, if whatever we are doing, it has to be willing, it has to be obedient, and it has to be sacrificial. May the cleansing power of Christ's sacrifice be ever present in our lives, and may our walk be in the purity of His grace. Thank you for listening. May God bless you all in abundance.